On Monday Night Raw this week, we was introduced to what Bray Wyatt called the new season of the Firefly Funhouse, and with it came some really fun Easter eggs that this video is here to theorise about, and there's quite a few of them. Genuinely, I was shocked looking back at this episode at how much stuff I missed originally. Let's go all the way back to the very first episode of the Firefly Funhouse. And now, this past week on Raw. A complete reintroduction to not only Bray Wyatt, but of course the Firefly Funhouse, going back to the very first time Bray Wyatt peered around that door, basically saying to us, this is new. Bray literally did point out the fact that this was a brand new him. He said, in fact, he felt reborn. Now, that does raise the big question. Of course, we got to look at what happened at WrestleMania, the fact that we saw the return of Funhouse Bray on Raw, and the theory has to be out there. Does the Fiend return the same way? Bray did say he will return, but is he going to be the same Fiend we've always known? I know that they've obviously introduced the burnt Fiend recently. He's now gone away and the old Fiend emerged again, but with a slight difference. Is there going to be more differences now that Bray Wyatt is reborn? I mean, it would make sense to. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. The popular theory right now is that the question, did Alexa Bliss drain the Fiend of his power at WrestleMania? I don't know. They haven't hinted at that on TV yet. They haven't answered that question. Bliss did say on the playground that she wanted to destroy the Fiend. Maybe then that is what happened, and it would then make sense that Bray needs a new devil, a new demon, or just to change things up and basically do something Alexa Bliss is not expecting him to do. Now, the other big thing in the Funhouse this week was, of course, Abby the Witch. And, of course, you got to say she might play a massive role into this story. But this is Abby the Witch when Alexa was part of the Firefly Funhouse. And you can clearly see that behind Abby in her window were blue lights. Now Alexa's gone. Those lights are now red. Obviously, red being the sign of the Fiend. We've always known the Fiend with a red light. So that kind of does maybe come into play, that things have changed now. Maybe they've got a little bit more sinister and a bit more evil with Bray Wyatt. And maybe the lights in Abby's window literally proves that. Maybe that's the reason behind the change in the light colour.
Kill you, mercy! Delicious. Yeah. Be gone!
The fact Bray refused to heal Abby, like he healed Huskus, he healed Mercy, and he said to Abby to be gone. There's a reason for that. Is it one, because he's scared of Abby the Witch? Obviously, the popular theory right now is whatever Lily is, Alexa Bliss's new character, you've got to believe that maybe it's linked to Abby the Witch. Now, I don't know. Obviously, again, this hasn't been revealed yet. It's a theory. But it could be. Lily could be Abigail. Strange, I know. But let's roll it around and let's break it down. If we say that the Fiend and Abigail are two demonic entities, and we're not saying they're the same in any capacity, but they are two different, separate demonic entities that obviously we now know in WWE TV. If we have come to know the Fiend to be Bray Wyatt, hence the Fiend Bray Wyatt, makes sense, right? But we also know the Fiend as Samael. Now, Samael might not just be the Fiend's name. It could be someone else that the Fiend inhabited decades, centuries, millenniums ago. Maybe at one point there was the Fiend Samael, hence Bray Wyatt inhibits and basically inherits everything Samael knew. into his own being when he took on the Fiend. Going by that theory, we could say Lily equals Abigail. Possibly. And I don't mean the puppet, I mean Sister Abigail, the one that raised Bray Wyatt and his brothers and sisters in the cabin in the woods. The clue is right there in the actual puppet. Abby the Witch. Of course, we know that whatever the hell has been going on with Alexa Bliss recently is some form of witchcraft. It kind of then starts to add up, where we get to the point where we could say that Lily, this Lilith character that we sort of theorize it to be, could in fact be Sister Abigail. Sister being part of the witches' convent that she joined, and Abigail being Abigail's name, the person that Lilith inhabited before's name. Which now on WWE would literally indicate that Lily equals Alexa Bliss, which could possibly mean Alexa Bliss is Sister Abigail. As I said, everything we've seen from Alexa does point at witchcraft. From blowing out a match and making fire appear around the ring, to performing dark spiritual rituals inside the funhouse itself, to literally all these black sludge, these goo-like substances that emerge from her and Randy Orton, could definitely be hinted at voodoo witchcraft. Starts to maybe fall in line a little bit. We know WWE filed a trademark for the name The Witch not too long ago. Obviously, it was alongside lots of other generic names, but The Witch is something which we haven't seen play into anything. There are others as well, like The Bridge, for example, but The Witch just seems very obvious for this scenario, that even if it's something that hasn't come into play yet, it's something that was probably brought up and they decided to file the trademark in case they run with it. It doesn't mean they're going to run with it. It just means that that thought may have been there at one point to call her the Witch. Now, don't take that as gospel, because for all we know, Lily/Lilith is a completely separate demon to Abigail, and that would make more sense, but we could definitely trace it back with what Alexa has done recently with the witch-like stuff to be Abigail. Whether it is Abigail or just Lily, Fiend obviously recognized this demon and obviously for a moment was distracted by whatever Alexa Bliss became at WrestleMania, hence whatever happened next with the loss to Randy Orton, and it starts to fall into place that Lily may not be an innocent looking doll after all. I've seen it mentioned now a few times about Lily's teeth, the fact they're skulls. We mentioned it on Things You Might Have Missed. But someone else pointed out to me that Bray Wyatt used to call himself the Eater of Worlds. Now, although she's not actually eating worlds here, the fact she's got skulls for teeth means that she's chewed through people. So you could claim maybe Lily is the Eater of Worlds. Now, when Bray was the Eater of Worlds, he had Sister Abigail inside of him, helping him along the path. Maybe Abigail was the Eater of Worlds all along. And maybe if Lily is Sister Abigail, things start to make even more sense. You guys know me by now. I'm literally a mark for this stuff. I absolutely love storytelling in professional wrestling. And it's one of the things that really makes me a wrestling fan. Obviously, everything else helps, but this is just head and shoulders to me above everything. And I'm not concerned about the future of Bray Wyatt, nor am I concerned about the future of the Funhouse. I'm really interested in the future of this story, whether it plays out tomorrow on Raw, whether it plays out at WrestleMania Backlash, at SummerSlam, or even in a year's time. This will play out, and when it plays out, OMG, things could get very exciting indeed. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you are new to the channel, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Consider turning on the post notifications so you never miss an upload. Don't forget, I'll be back about an hour after Raw tomorrow with things you might have missed, if there's anything to talk about, because kind of need that first Watch Raw and we'll see. Please like the video and I'll see you next time. Peace!